Hello, and welcome to the UNFAZED Review Podcast.
Hello.
I'm Ben.
I'm Emmett.
And today we're talking about water.
Yeah, we're going to open up with, I didn't know about any of this really. I heard a little bit about it on the news, but I didn't realize how bad it was until you started talking about it, and we pulled up this article just now. It says, for the first time in history, a water shortage has been declared on the Colorado River, a resource of water for approximately 40 million people in western states, including Arizona. Years of severe drought conditions made by worse climate change has led to record low water levels at Lake Powell and Lake Mead along the Arizona and Nevada borders, two of the river's main reservoirs. So
basically, water goes away, we're fucked.
Yeah, and you had mentioned that there are developments on the outskirts of Phoenix that are being built that actually had to stop production because they weren't getting enough water.
And I hope they actually do, but knowing developers and knowing the greed and knowing the housing market right now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the almighty dollar is going to win until people start dying and running out of water. I think that's the kind of world we live in.
It's so sad.
Yeah. And I know our boy Lever Action Wacky Tobacco, aka Appalachian Exploration, made some really valid points on this and said, hey, eventually you guys are going to want to consider going to a place with some more rainfall and some more water.
I do remember you saying. I remember him saying that. Yeah.
Honestly, dude, you're absolutely 110%
Yeah, he
right.
called it. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of obvious, looking at the desert, but for some reason, developers don't seem to see that. They're just looking at, the immediate future and the opportunity for growth and money, which I get, but then you get to a point where it's like, well, yeah, but people need water.
Yeah, it's so shitty because, excuse me, you're building housing. It's like you're building it for the fact that someone can live there for a long time. So if they can't have water, like it's just water. Like the one thing, the elixir of life is what we all need.
And what's so bizarre to me, and vodka.
Yeah, vodka, yeah.
But what's so bizarre to me is how this isn't more pressing. People are still, you look at the news, right? Especially any news.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, any news here. It's like people crying about that or social injustice, whether it be real or fabricated for ratings, things like that. It's like more social stuff and more people getting their feelings hurt than actual serious things like the possibility of things going to hell or running out of something as serious as water. You know what I mean? And this housing boom just keeps going and going and going, and prices keep skyrocketing, going up, and the middle class is like evaporating.
So people are paying a shitload for houses that are not going to have any water.
Yeah,
basically.
It's a weird fucking time.
Yeah, Arizona isn't. I think it's like the worst drought since the 1940s or something. So
yeah,
it's
and I would assume that goes for California too.
Yeah, I will though say thankfully, I have noticed that more people are becoming wise to the fact that the media does push things that are fairly pointless, as opposed to all the things that are important that are being pushed under the rug.
Yeah, anytime you see things that are like trigger warnings, I mean, that's like what CNN is all about.
Yeah, and it's I think it's coming out now and becoming so apparent now because it's so obvious. So we're on the brink of war with Russia or whatever, and so people are like, you cannot avoid that, but people are still trying to avoid that. But,
exactly. Exactly.
So at this point, it's like cartoonish.
Yeah,
that it's like
I think what we need now is some good diplomacy and to chill out on building houses that are overpriced that don't have any water.
Yeah.
Those are like the major things we need to focus on in the desert here.
Yeah, really.
But it's a weird time. It's a weird time. Have you noticed just how the vibe is lately with people? We were actually talking about this at dinner. Like, as a society, everyone stays very surface level, and I think a big part of that is due to the media.
Everyone's very surface level. I think we started to notice that when we were at the mall a few days ago, or a few weeks ago. We mentioned on the podcast how weird everyone was, and I noticed that specifically last night when I was out at a gig, and everyone's becoming like uber fake. It's really weird. I don't know how else to put it. It's just like I don't see them as fully fledged human beings. So like we were talking about, like NPCs.
Yeah. Are you guys noticing that in other countries, or is that a very American-centric thing?
I think it's a very like Arizona-centric thing. I mean, I think I don't want it to be widespread because that'd be terrifying.
I don't know, man. But think about social media, though. It's influencing all these people.
Yeah.
And that's available everywhere.
Yeah.
Except for China and North Korea.
Yeah.
The same kind of social media.
Yeah, you're right. Damn. Yeah, I don't know.
What if you went to North Korea and it was just like awesome? And they're like, we don't want the rest of the world. What if Kim Jong-un is like great? Like he's a good guy. He's trying to keep Mayberry.
I'll mention specifically what I was talking about last night, so you guys are aware. I was at a gig in by ASU, Arizona State University. ASU was a famous like party college, and I was at like a fast food restaurant pretty late with my buddy, and There were two sorority girls there that had a conversation that didn't feel like a real conversation to me. They were talking about the new Spider-Man movie. These didn't look like people who would ever watch Spider-Man, but because it was in like pop culture, they had to talk about it. And one of them was like, "Oh my god, I love your Spider-Man socks," and the other one was like, "Oh, did you see the new Spider-Man movie?" And then she was like, "Oh, the one was in Daya," and then she was like,
"Guarantee that's the only one they've seen."
Yeah, right. And she's like, "Yeah, I was so emotional at the end. I love Spider-Man." And I was like, "No, you don't." Like, and it's like I can't fully translate how. Like, it blew my mind and, like, worried me how fake the conversation sounded.
Yeah.
And they were with guys, so I feel like they were trying to almost, like, relate to the guys. Like, ooh, they like Spider-Man. But it was just, it was terrible, right? But it was, like, it was terrifying how played out and, like, scripted the conversation felt. It was just, like, it was almost, like, chilling. Yeah. It was like, what is, people don't speak like this. It was just really, it was really odd to me. And I've been noticing that with those people in general. And even, like, earlier that day, we were at this restaurant, and, I think we've both felt this, that in Tempe specifically, if you guys ever come to Tempe, everyone feels very fake and very standoffish.
Not a big fan
I've
of
always
Tempe.
fucking hated Tempe.
No. The best part of Tempe, like I said at dinner, was like the Tempe Improv. Like, the Tempe Improv is like a great place for comedy, and that's why I love it. But I guess you could say that anywhere. You could have literally like the worst like ghetto in Detroit and have an amazing comedy club. Yeah. And I'd be like, I love Detroit.
Yeah, right.
You know, but
you're right.
I guess it's all circumstantial and depends on the place. But
I'd actually like to shit on Tempe for a minute if you.
Yeah, I would love to, because Tempe. I remember one time we went together and we felt like such outsiders.
We both hated it.
Yeah, I mean, a few times I've been there, and it's just. Tell me why you hate it. I want to hear all of it.
Well, I came like 2 hours early to this gig we were supposed to play, and it was already like packed. There was way too much traffic.
Always.
It's always jammed. There's always no place to park.
There's always construction.
Yeah. Everyone is always like way too well manicured and just kind of standoffish. And even the gig that we played at, they were not helpful. I remember I needed like an extension cord to plug in my piano. And I went up to the hostess and I was like, "Hey, do you guys know if you have any extension cords?" And she just like straight up, she was like, no. And like immediately, I knew she was lying. I was like, "Fucking bitch!" Like I have a really short fuse when I'm at Tempe because I'm expecting that.
Yeah,
I know everyone's gonna be shitty.
And they never disappoint.
Yeah, right.
On being assholes.
And then and finally I went up to the manager and asked, and finally he got one. But even the manager was really short and kind of shitty with us, and he was annoyed because like their sound system wasn't working. Like we brought everything we needed, but their sound system wasn't working, and he was getting all mad. He was like, "You guys should have come this morning to figure this out." And it's like, dude, fuck you. Are you kidding me? And we played for 3 hours, and I got $100. Like he underpaid all of us, and like everyone there looks so. I don't know what it is. Like they think they're so cool.
Yeah.
And they're really self-aware of it. They're like really well done up, and they always kind of like look down on you.
Yeah.
It's like this vibe I get. Just ASU in general is just like shit. I fucking hate ASU.
Yeah, not a fan. It's weird shitting on an entire city, but like. Tempe, I've had a lot of bad experiences.
Yeah, it's just everyone's just shitty.
I'm sure there's some good people out there, but I just haven't met them.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, realistically, I don't hate everyone who I live in Tempe, technically, but
I hate you.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you guys know what we're saying. It's like
there's certain places.
There's a vibe there that's just really.
I'm sure there's thousands of wonderful people, but last time I went through Tempe, here's a fun little story. Last time I went through Tempe, I was literally just driving, minding my own business. I was ready to turn right. I couldn't because traffic was coming. Guy behind me just laying on the horn. I'm like, I'm not going to risk my life turning right because like this traffic's coming pretty aggressively. And he's like flipping me off. He's like doing the jerk off, and I'm like literally just like giving him the peace sign. And then I get mad. And then so I start. He goes around the corner. He rips past me and doing the jerk off thing. Yeah. So I start following him. I start laying on the horn. I start flashing the brights, everything. But then I look at his license plate, Purple Heart. Oh. And I was like, I wish he would have died in the war.
I know. And traffic's a bad one. Everyone's a piece of shit with traffic too.
Yeah.
Every morning when I go to work, if as soon as you turn on your turn signal, even if they're really far away, they'll start speeding up.
Yeah.
Like they don't let you in. As soon as the turn signal's on, it's like they want to crash into you.
Traffic's aggressive, guys.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's a big one.
I always let people in, and it's like you don't want to die. And fucking
here's my thing. Here on the news, you hear a lot about like road rage and road rage shootings.
Yeah.
And I totally get it.
Yeah, I get it too. Yeah.
I don't agree with it, but I totally see why it happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't condone it, but it makes sense.
I was thinking the other day when I was in traffic, it's sad that as soon as we're all in traffic, it becomes like this competition.
Yeah.
There's something really disheartening about that. Like, it's not like we're in traffic, we're all trying to help each other out. We're all immediately pissed at each other.
Yeah.
Which is something that's really sad.
You immediately lose the fact that that's someone's son or mother or whatever. They're just immediately that fucking asshole in the car.
Which is the same with the internet. You know, like Twitter and stuff, we can all be pissed off at
It's
each
nameless,
other
faceless.
on Twitter, because they're not in front of you.
It's crazy. Yeah, I heard it. Dude, literally the road rage here is so fucking bad. Did you hear that? I love how they're like, there's a little bit of crime in Phoenix.
Right.
There's a lot of crime.
There's a lot of crime.
Let me just convey that to you guys right now. There was someone working at, I think it was Wendy's. It was like a teenager. And another teenager came through and had an argument with the guy in the drive-thru. He backed it up, came back, and shot the guy in the face. The guy lived.
Holy shit.
But got shot in the face. And then there was another one recently that I heard, like, within the last month, another guy that got shot in the head with another road rage situation, and he lived.
Good lord.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still alive, but...
Shit, man. Yeah. Yeah, that's...
yeah. So, I'm always a little hesitant to flip people off first.
Right, yeah.
I like throwing up the peace sign.
Like throwing up.
But, unless it's that asshole with the Purple Heart, fuck that guy.
There was one time, I'm obviously so glad I didn't do anything, I would have ruined my life, but I had... coincidentally just come back from the shooting range, like one of 3 times in my life when I've gone to a shooting range. I had my shotgun and ammo in the back.
And his Nerf
and
guns.
These 2 like ugly, dumb looking kids, for literally no reason, they're behind me. I was on like the 101, I was on the highway.
Yeah.
I was going like over the speed limit, traffic speed. They were like really far, again, like it was like it was changing lanes thing. They were really far behind me. I turn on my blinker, I go into the next lane. They like zoom around me and like flip me off, and they're just so like hideous and retarded looking that I was like, I have a shotgun in my car right now. I followed them for a little bit, and I could blow these ugly motherfuckers' heads off. And then finally, I was like, I should not do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it gets, especially when you're driving, it's like you want to kill everyone. I don't know why.
Now imagine someone who's not a good person who has that same shotgun.
Yeah, right, exactly.
There'd be nerd blood all over the road. You know?
Yeah, man, it's bad.
The point where because I used to be all about road rage. I feel like I still get a bit. I still have a temper, but I feel like it used to be a lot worse when I was younger. Like, especially when I first started driving and like as a teenager and stuff. But do you remember when they had Live PD, the TV show? It's not on the air anymore, but it was all like real cop stuff. And some of that would take place here in Phoenix, in like the Phoenix metropolitan area. And I remember there was one specific episode I was watching, and I don't remember who I was with. I don't remember. But it was down by the Phoenix airport. And they pulled over these guys, and they were like kind of thug looking, but not like extreme. They were just like kind of thuggy. Right. Opened up the back of their trunk. It was just filled with fucking Uzis, machine guns.
I think I know exactly what you're talking
all the guns. And I'm like, oh man. I'm like, I literally know where that is. Yeah, like I like know that area. And I'm like, okay, maybe I should I should ease off flipping cars.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Because I mean, like, there's some crazy motherfuckers out there with Uzis driving around the Phoenix airport.
But then again, there's so much so many guys are really big on like buying guns and not knowing how to handle them.
Yeah.
There was that, we almost mentioned it on the last podcast. There was that video. I'm sure you guys have seen road rage. Yeah, road rage in like LA or something.
Yeah.
This guy, amazing that he didn't shoot his target because it was like right in front of him.
It's crazy.
And it looks like he's never shot a gun before in his life. He's like driving and he pulls out his pistol, and as soon as he starts to fire, it almost looks like he's like scared of it. Yeah. And he shoots like his whole clip. And he's like, that's what he does. It's like he's afraid that he's shooting it. It looks really stupid.
Yeah, he's like,
the dude's right there in the next lane. He shoots him and he misses. Thankfully.
Yeah, thank God.
But like it's so like those are the
I'm
guys.
surprised it didn't ricochet and hit him.
Yeah, I wish it did.
And what's crazy was it wasn't even like a back and forth firefight. It was something like the car backfired.
Yeah,
and the guy freaked out and started shooting at like a person that didn't do anything.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so like that guy was an idiot.
If we can find that video,
I'll throw it in there.
That should go here.
So silly.
Yeah, but it's crazy out there, man. I think eventually, not anytime soon, but I want to say within the next 10 years, I wouldn't mind spending some time living in a small town.
That sounds really nice right now.
Yeah, I think the more and more I live in... Oh, I just dropped my water bottle. Went right through my legs,
You better
guys.
hold on to your water.
Right through my legs, guys. Whoa, hey. I think like a nice little small town would be fun, like a place with a fishing hole.
Yeah, sounds nice. And there are a lot of towns like that in Arizona. You don't hear a lot about them. There's Oracle, and you ever been to Oracle?
I feel like Oracle sucks.
Well, probably, but it's a small town.
There's a lot of shitty small towns.
There's a lot of other small towns. Some of them are nice, I think.
I want a Mayberry.
I want a Mayberry. Yeah, Mayberry. Everyone wants a Mayberry.
Yeah.
Everyone wants a Truman Show type town.
I would love to go to Mayberry someday and vlog it. I mean, there's not the real Mayberry, but there's the city or the town that it was based on, that Andy Griffith grew up in. Let me find out the name of it. It has a nice little name.
The picturesque.
I want to say it's like Mount something. Let's see.
Mount Mayberry.
What town is Mayberry based on? Mount Airy.
Mount Airy, there you go.
Right. Mount Airy,
Mayberry.
a quaint North Carolina town, was Andy Griffith's childhood home and the inspiration for Mayberry in the beloved 1960s sitcom, The Andy Griffith Show. Do any of you guys, if you want to comment, do any of you guys live in nice little Mayberry small towns? And if so, tell us where they are so we can come check them out.
I feel like Lever Action does. Lever Action, you live in nowhere, right?
He lives in Maine.
He lives in Maine. But like in the middle of nowhere, Maine, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
I feel like I 100% respect that. I think at some point in my life I would like to experience that too.
Yeah.
But I think I'd like something with a little more action in terms of like a city, but maybe like a small city.
Yeah.
But I think for a year of my life I would like to be off the beaten path.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice to have like a little
Cornville.
Cornville. It'd be nice to have a little bar to go to with a burger shop with some cute girls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's Cornville.
I like a little something because I mean, also you got to figure, all I've known so far to this point in my life is a pretty big city.
Yeah.
So it's like I've never experienced like
same
living in the country, you know. But it might be nice. It might be good.
Nice.
I think it would be really awesome if we were like writing something, like working on a novel or working on a big script or something. It would be kind of like. Okay, I want to go to Field of Dreams for a little while.
Yeah.
Just kind of like...
I think there's something about our culture for sure, but I think it's also something about where we live that makes us feel like we always have to be moving and doing something. You know?
Especially where we've grown up.
Yeah, right, exactly.
The status quo.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that, like, if you move into a little town or whatever, you can kind of chill, which sounds really nice.
Yeah. What would be ideal for you? Like, I am thinking of, like, did you ever see the movie Phenomenon? All right.
Yeah. It's kind of like that.
A little town like that from Phenomenon, or like a Mayberry, but maybe with a few more things to do. I never saw a theater at Mayberry. Was it a theater? I'm sure there was. You got to have a theater.
Yeah, something like that would be perfect. Man.
Yeah, Field of Dreams, something like that.
Field of Dreams.
Something from a Joan Cougar Mellencamp song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
I was born in a small town. Yeah. And I live in a small town.
But also, it might be creepy in a way to us, because I remember just living in Tucson for a while and living in this house that was like up in the foothills. Yeah. There was like a lot of distance between the houses.
I remember that house.
Yeah, there was not a lot of light at night. There was like more nature than human presence, which kind of unsettled me, just because we're used to so much.
Totally.
There's like, there's a grid here, so it's like there's no... Yeah. But down there it was like you'd hear just like animals and it would be pitch black at night. And I remember in the beginning that kind of freaked me out a little bit. Yeah. But...
I spent a good chunk of my childhood, like, many, many weekends up in Prescott. Oh, okay. My grandparents lived up there, and I would go up a lot as a kid and visit. And same deal, like technically they lived out in Dewey, which is real close to Prescott. Right. And that was a pretty small town at the time, and it's definitely growing a lot. Prescott has grown a lot, but that was a place where like you'd go out at night and it was so dark. Dewey was so dark, the Dewey Humboldt area, and like you could really see the stars at night. And same thing, like you feel like you could easily like go for a walk and like see a coyote, what I mean, like that type of vibe. But that was the closest I came to like being out in like small town of any kind. Yeah. But it would be cool to kind of mix it up someday,
And even like Flagstaff, I don't know if that's considered, but I've always enjoyed that.
I think it's considered. I mean, it's smaller in terms of like comparing it to Phoenix,
right? Yeah,
but it's still it's a pretty substantial size city. But it's definitely smaller.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
but Flagstaff's cool. I know a lot of people that love Flagstaff.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, it's good. But I think that's.
I think we were overdue for like a road trip or something.
Dude, totally. Yeah. I think my goal was I was really hoping to go out of state once every month this year, but I don't know if that's really feasible. It's tough to do out of state. Yeah. But I think every other month would be totally doable. I think that'd be cool.
And that'd be good for your mind.
It would be awesome, yeah. Well, I found even going to California really briefly to like a shitty border town part of California. Was good for the soul. Like literally going and having like a good 2-hour drive and like getting out just of the familiar surroundings is really good. Even if you're going somewhere that's kind of like blah, like freaking Blythe. You know what I mean? Like Blythe is a shithole.
Was great, man.
Blythe is a shithole. But it felt good. It felt good going. And I think little things like that would be nice. More road. We should plan a road trip.
Yeah, just because it's good to. I mean, it sounds stupid when you say it, but it's good to remember that there's like more stuff out there.
Totally.
Because when you like look at the same places and the same stuff every day, it's like this is the whole world.
You get wrapped up in the same.
Yeah.
And you kind of you kind of get stuck on a track.
Yeah,
where you're kind
you
of
don't
like, okay,
wanna do that,
cool.
yeah.
It's like work, home, bay.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
good to remember there's more out there.
It's nice. I'd like to. You know, it'd be kind of cool. It'd be kind of cool to mark some places on a map that like are within like maybe like 4 or 5 hour drive that we've never been to. Like neither of us have been to.
I would love to do that.
Be like, let's check that out. We should make that a goal for March to take like one like pretty epic road trip.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, or maybe not super epic.
The unfazed epic road trip coming up.
Maybe mini epic.
Mini epic.
It'd be cool to hit some parts of Route 66.
That would be cool.
That would be
Yeah.
fun. I've never done Route 66.
Yeah, nor have I. Yeah.
I'm sure we've been on parts of it, but never like legit like little small town USA.
That would be fun, man. That would be
We could totally do that. Route 66.
Hit all the diners. There's a
That would be
shitload of
fun.
like kitschy diners there. So
We should do some Route 66.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, maybe in March or something.
diners with the little gray men and shit.
Yeah, we should leave on like we should make it like a 3-day weekend and just do a part of it
That'd be fun.
and be like, all right, we head out early on a Friday.
Yeah,
that'd be
it'd
fun.
be super fun. That sounds good.
So we'll rent a sports car.
Hell yeah. Rent a sports car.
That'll be fun.
Good.
That'll be fun.
Oh man. So there's one little piece of news I want to talk about.
No,
Okay, I'm sorry.
all right.
We move on to the email.
I would love to hear the news. Tell me the news.
So as you know, I always put on NPR every once in a while.
Your only news source.
My only news, my one source for news,
Yeah.
for as much as I can take it. And I've heard a really interesting interview. It was someone, I think from the BBC, because he had like a British accent and everything.
Big black.
Exactly. Yeah, he was interviewing the. I can tell you how many times my students are like, "Mr. LaFave, what's BBC?" And I always had to say the British Broadcasting Corporation. And then some student asked me, "Mr. LaFave, what's white and sticky?" And I was quick. I was like, "Glue."
Nice.
But anyway, so this is BBC guy interviewing this Danish doctor, I think, and I guess Denmark has just now lifted a bunch of COVID restrictions.
Okay.
And it was really interesting because she was championing the fact that they had reached herd immunity, which is something that I know, like, everyone's going to get pissed off, but it's something that the right was saying we had to get to here. Mm-hmm. And the left thought that was a really bad idea. And the right was like, no, everyone's going to keep dying. It's going to get prolonged until we just bite the bullet and get herd immunity. And she was saying that like that was a good thing. And she also said, what was the other thing she said? She said they reached herd immunity, and that was good. And then she also this was the biggest thing. She flat out explained how, and like confessed to how the death rate numbers were approached via I don't know how to explain this. I'm not like a sciencey medical guy.
You lost,
but you know you're good. So she said that the COVID deaths were counted if someone was like, say someone was in like a car accident, their body's in half.
Oh, I did hear this.
And they happen to have COVID at the time, they would count that as a COVID death.
I actually heard. Sorry, you finish yours.
Well, so for a long time, a lot of people were like, I think they're doing the numbers wrong. These death rates are kind of phony because, I mean, you can have COVID, you can get shot in the head, and they say if you have COVID, then you died from COVID. And she said that was the case. Like, that was literally what we've been doing. And so, first of all, like, why? You know, because that's obviously going to throw out the numbers. Yeah. But it was funny because the BBC guy like kept on trying to backtrack and sort of defend it. He was like, well, and she kept like, laying it on thick. She was like, no, we've been doing it this way the whole time.
I did hear that same thing.
Right?
I heard, and
is
you
that
guys feel free to fact check me on this 100%. Okay.
Well, this doctor said it on NPR.
Yeah, my thing was NPR. Love NPR. No, but I heard this undercover nurse that was like exposing some of the corruption going on in her hospital, said, I can't, maybe if I can find the YouTube video, we can link it below. But she was basically saying that they were doing that same thing. If someone would die of an unrelated cause to COVID, they would list it as a COVID-related death because they would get medical or government funding for that COVID death.
Yeah,
there's something along those lines.
The whole world has been doing this.
Yeah, and so and like I said, fact check me, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm getting it wrong. But it was something along the lines of they were getting money if they would label a death as COVID-related. Yeah. So people that were dying of unrelated things were still getting marked as COVID deaths.
Yeah, no, it's completely true. Yeah. And it's crazy because everyone's been like trying to say that's the case. And it was like, oh, no, trust the scientists, right? But then all these people are coming out and being like, oh yeah, no, this is the way we did it. And then the dude, once she was finally like insistent on this, he was just like, oh okay. Then he moved to like the next question. But I'm like, no, dude, like this.
Yeah.
You guys have been shitting on anyone who's questioned this remotely.
Yeah.
And now it's out here as like factual truth, and then you're just like, oh okay. And you like move on like nothing happened. Like that's so fucked up.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on.
Yeah, it's so like it blows my mind. Why are they doing it like that? I mean, I guess the incentive to make it government funded or whatever. But
and there's probably a lot that I don't know because I'm not in the medical field.
I was talking with a buddy of mine about like it's weird how we have this like hard on for anyone who's like a scientist or in medicine, and we all think they're like geniuses.
Fauci's pulling bitches.
Yeah, but a buddy of mine who's like a business major was talking to me about how a lot of scientists and people in medicine are like really shitty at statistics.
Really?
Yeah, and he's like, they all are getting this stuff wrong. And he was like, I'm in stats, man. These guys are fucking this shit up. They're not good at statistics. So like, they're really just like fumbling their stats. Yeah. And of course we believe it because it sounds all official, but
yeah.
I'm sorry, like, have you met a lot of nurses? Like, a lot of them are just like sorority girls at party. They don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, not all these people are fucking geniuses that we should worship. They're just
there's some
guys.
great nurses and great doctors out there.
100%, of course.
Who I'm totally grateful for. But I did have a neighbor who was one of the ditziest women I've ever met in my life. She was like someone you would not want working on you medically, and she was an ER nurse.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid, my dad saying like, "Hey, if I'm ever in an accident or sick or anything, don't take me to her hospital."
Yeah, dude.
And I was like, so there's definitely people in all fields, but I've noticed that with quite a few nurses. There are some ditzy ones out there. Yeah. And there are some brilliant ones too.
Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, it's all, even like the last few personal interactions I've had with doctors and stuff have been really bad.
Really?
I don't know if I've talked about it on here, but I had a really bad like stomach flu once, and my mom decided to like drive me to my doctor because she was afraid it was COVID. And my doctor, she was like touching my stomach or whatever, and she got to my what the fuck is it called? Appendix. Yeah, she got to my appendix. And she like pushed really hard, like as hard as she could. And she's like, "Does it hurt here?" Because she was like asking where it hurt, and she was like, "It was like normal." And when she got to my appendix, she was like, "Does it hurt over here?" And I was like, I was like nauseous, and I felt like I was about to throw up, and so I was like, "Yeah." And then she was like, "Oh, it's appendicitis."
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like she just wanted to get that,
but it was not.
No, but it was not. And then but I couldn't really, I didn't have the energy to fight it in front of her. And then so my mom was like, "Oh, we gotta go to the hospital."
Yeah.
And so as we were driving to the hospital, I was like telling my mom,
it wasn't hot or anything, was it?
No, it was fine. Oh yeah, I was telling my mom, I was like, "This is not appendicitis." She just pushed on it really hard. I'm fine. We need to go home. I'll get through this. And my mom was like, "No, we gotta be careful." So we go to the hospital. I do that like thing like in the movies where they put me into the tube and they scan me or whatever. Yeah. Thousands of dollars. Wasn't appendicitis. Yeah. Wasted trip. I'm still paying that off. Yeah. And she fucked me. My doctor screwed me over on that one because she wanted to get a diagnosis and like get me out of the room.
You should go fuck her.
Yeah. But that's like, these guys are not, they're not all saints that like know everything. It's just their job.
Well, that's why they call it a medical practice.
Right. So, yeah, man, just be careful. They're people too.
Yeah, and like I said, there's great ones out there who we're totally grateful for. Like, there's people saving lives. Yeah. But then there's also, people who graduated the lowest of their class.
Yeah.
They're still out there.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, time for a quick commercial break, and we will return with more shenanigans and tomfoolery.
Lovely.
Capri Sun. Liquid cool. Now there's a hologram pouch and specially marked boxes of Capri Sun. You can collect all four.
Nature is more civilized with the new Nissan Pathfinder.
And we're back. So, I think it's time to read some of our emails.
Yes. Do we say who this one is from? Or?
She says it's okay.
This is from Caboose, long-time fan, good pal, and she has a great, she streams on YouTube, so go check her out.
Yeah.
Alright, here we go. Long story warning.
Is her YouTube Madame Caboose?
I believe so. She might have changed it recently. We'll put it in the link below.
Link below. Check out her channel.
Hey, if you guys ever talk about work stories on the podcast, I have a recent experience that sucks. So I was hired by a hospital to be a dishwasher. There were 3 interviews. The first was a video interview, which took a few days to get a call back, as expected, because I thought this was my only interview. I got a call, which was an impromptu phone interview I wasn't prepared to receive at all, while driving home from a separate job interview. Damn. Then I had an in-person interview where I was interviewed by a council of 5 to 6 managers, just for a dishwashing job? Damn. Who ran different areas of the hospital's food service. The main interviewer, who I assumed would be my manager and will henceforth be referred to as Jibby, extended an offer to me for the job. Yeah, he said it would take 2 weeks for the hiring process and to expect an email within 1 day from someone else about the pre-hire checklist, and he would send me his number. I didn't get his number until the day before my start date, 3 weeks later. It took 1 week to get an email, which I assumed was because they had to do a background check. That email was an automated one asking for me to give them references, which I had already done, but they wanted my references to submit surveys about me, so I sent them the contact info again.
Was this dishwashing job in Area 51?
Yeah, right.
Jeez.
I simultaneously got an automated email saying I was denied the position but ignored this because it was obviously a mistake. I got another automated email to finally sign the offer letter and initiate the background check. I then had to get a drug test and fully COVID and flu vaccinated, which made me quite sick for a couple days, which I was fine with because I'd be working at a hospital. But I mentioned this to show the time and effort the hiring process took. Yeah, for sure. I would have given up weeks ago.
Very involved.
Yeah, the third week after the in-person interview was a scramble from the company to get all my other documents and pre-hire tasks completed. It sounds like hell. Something I wish they'd initiated earlier, but I get they needed to wait for the background check. But why didn't they do the background check right after the interview? True. Mm-hmm. They wasted an entire week doing nothing, even though it was obvious they were short-staffed and needed new workers immediately. This place sounds like it's a poorly run hospital. Just talking about shitty medicine.
Sounds like something from the Black Plague.
Yeah. Day 1 of work was orientation. Very easy because you just get to sit through presentations and computer modules, and I actually made friends.
I wish it was all orientation.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I'm never fully oriented in these things anyway. Day 2 was the worst job experience I've ever had. Firstly, I wasn't told where to go for my actual first day, so I tried to remember how to navigate through the gigantic hospital to the staff room from the brief tour on orientation day. Damn. When I got there, my manager, Jibby, was in a meeting, so a really nice manager brought me to another manager to show me to the dish room. Damn. From there, I got trained by an older gentleman who was super cool and nice, and he told me to relax in my first week as he taught me things. This guy sounds creepy already. Yeah. The older manager's telling me to relax. Just relax.
Just ease back.
It went great, and he even bought me lunch. Oh, he's trying to move on.
Let me tell you about the back room of the hospital where we got the body shoot. I want you to come down here and get real comfy.
Because food wasn't free for food service workers. Damn. But for some reason, you get a $2.50 allowance that doesn't buy anything? The fuck? What?
Terrifying.
Then he left, and there were no dishwashers to train me for a half hour, but there were a few people who had to come in and wash dishes from other areas of the kitchen due to short staffing. When another dishwasher finally came, she didn't introduce herself or acknowledge me. I introduced myself and asked if she was a dishwasher, which she was, and we'll call her Janice and Jibby. I thought Janice was going to train me, but she ignored me. As I was working the wash machine, she turned it off just to say, "Welcome to hell." Thanks for the welcome. Is that what she really said, or you? I can't tell. But she really said that. That's fucking hilarious.
That's amazing.
Welcome to hell.
Are you serious?
She didn't say anything to you.
Welcome to hell.
Yeah. Holy shit. Damn. Thanks for the welcome and for interrupting my work. Yeah, I guess she really said that. Jesus fucking Christ. That would have been okay if she was nice, but she ended up being a bitch.
Was her hair dyed pink? I bet her hair was dyed pink.
Oh man, I told her this was my first day. I was supposed to be training for caboose. I'm sorry, man. And I had no idea what I was doing, but she ignored me. Man, I'm real sorry. Every time I asked Janice a question, she would snap at me and get all rude and get angry with me when I couldn't hear her over the loud dishwasher. So I did my own thing, which was very limited because I don't know how to really do anything. Then a really nice dude from another area came in and showed me where to put the dishes away. Keep in mind, this kitchen is huge. It was such a contrast from being ignored and harassed by Janice that I actually started to cry. But luckily, my mask hid it. I don't cry anymore, so this was weird for me to experience. I'm sorry, that does sound very stressful. Yeah. The entire time, I only saw my manager, Jibby, once, when he checked on the dish room, not on me, he checked on the overall room for a few seconds while I was still being trained. So I don't know if he was my actual manager. I wasn't supervised or managed by anyone after my initial trainer. Overall, a disorganized, I was about to say, a very disorganized system, very detached. Seems like they barely even noticed you were there and just needed someone, like a name to fill in that spot.
Yeah.
It was clear that my needs weren't being taken into consideration and they were more worried about getting me to fill in shifts. So I fucking left. I want to mention that I'm also the most submissive, go with the flow, pushover you could know. But even I couldn't handle the disrespect I received. Good. Sometimes we need those situations to get us to like put our foot down and be like, no. So
Absolutely,
yeah, good. If they want workers, they need to treat them better. Yeah. Sorry for the long story. If you include it in the podcast, you can mention my name. Caboose! If you can't fit it in. Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, dude, that sounds awful. I'm so sorry. I'm glad you got out of there. Yeah.
You made the right move, yeah.
Damn.
And like I had said, sometimes you need bad jobs like that to realize what you absolutely 100% don't want to do.
Yeah.
Because you got to get out of there. And sometimes you can feel it. It's just like this. It's not even a sixth sense. It's just like, it's really obvious. Sometimes you go into a place and you're like, oh, I'm not going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah, it is good that there is a sixth sense that just kicks in. And when you get pushed a little too much, your brain is immediately just like, no.
Yep.
Which is
There's been jobs where in the past where I went in for literally one day and I was like, this is not for me. Like, fuck this. Like there was a seasonal job I went to working at a Bevmo, and it was going in. I thought it would be fun to work around the liquor, work around the alcohol, help with the to-go stuff.
Yep.
And I remember I went in for one orientation, and the people there were pretty weird, like very weird, and it seemed like there was no respect for management, and you could just tell it was chaotic. And I was talking to one guy there. And he was like, hey man, he's like, this is my last week. He's like, I'm leaving. It was my first day of orientation, you know? I'm like, oh, and he's like, this place fucking sucks, man. He's like, don't do it. And I was like, and he said that in front of the manager. And I was like, and they're like, oh, don't listen to him. And he looked at me, he's like,
what a good guy.
And I was like, wow. And then I like did, went around there, and it turned out they wanted me to do a job that I hadn't actually applied for. I had applied.
That happens to you a lot. Sounds like
in the past, in the past, but it does tend to happen.
It's shitty, yeah.
And maybe that happens to a lot of people, and they're into like trying to pigeonhole people into something they don't want to do because they need to fill a position, maybe. But it does happen to me sometimes. But I had applied for helping with the to-go stuff, and I was thinking, oh, maybe there'd be like some restocking and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, we're gonna have you on cash register, and I was like, no. I was like, no, not gonna happen.
Yeah.
You gotta wear a funny little apron.
Right, An apron is why.
That's where I draw the line. Yeah. But I went in for just a few hours, and then I was like, I'm not coming back there again.
Yeah, good for you.
I give him the courtesy of calling the guy. The next day I was like, hey man, it's not for me. I'm not coming in. And I told him I was like, it wasn't what I had applied for. You know? And there were a few jobs throughout my early working days where I was just like, no, not going to do this. And there were ones that I worked at very briefly. There was this. I guess I could say their name. There was this medical organization that I worked for that they were so poorly managed behind the scenes.
Yeah, I remember you.
It was absolutely ridiculous. And I went into the office and it was like me and like one other person, and they're like, "Well, if you need your manager, you can reach him, via email." I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Right.
It was like the weirdest job, and I stuck it out for like. I stuck it out for like 2 months working there, and it was so disorganized.
Oh, man.
And I literally got to the point where I would clock in and I'd leave.
Good.
And I would come back
Good.
and I would clock out. I took full advantage of it.
I think the key, what I was just thinking when you were saying that, is I think the key between having like a shitty, like a Kruger industrial smoothing type job, and like utilizing it versus being fucked by it is like, whatever they give you, give it back to them. Like if they're treating you like shit, they don't care about you.
Definitely.
Don't care about them. Treat them like shit.
Yeah.
If they care about you and they're good to you, then you do your best or whatever.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I've only realized that fairly recently. I've never had a truly horrific job that was awful. And if I do have a job where I can tell like this place is not well managed, they're not giving me what I need, then I'll just I'll take their money and I won't give a shit.
You gotta leave. But if you have a place that treats you respectable and has a good vibe and everything, like the job I have now, a lot of cool people there.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah.
I will do a good job. While I'm there, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's been some jobs in the past where I'm like, fuck this. This is a joke, man.
I think the worst job I had in terms of like just how I was treated and how it felt was I had a seasonal job when I was still in high school. As a senior in high school, I had a seasonal job at Urban Outfitters. Oh. And my first shift was like the night before Black Friday. Okay. It was like my first shift. So they were pretty much just hiring me for Black Friday.
Super seasonal.
Yeah, right. And
we need a warm body.
yeah, right. Yeah, it was like a 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. shift or
Sounds
something.
awful.
And it was it was just like I don't even remember what happened. It was just like they were closed everywhere, and I don't remember what I did or why I did it, but they needed me. And then after that, they're pretty much just trying to get me out of there. You know, you could tell they were trying to push me out of there, and like. Everyone was so hip and cool at that place, and I didn't really give a shit. I just wore my regular, whatever.
Not wearing the clothes off.
Yeah, right. And I'd never bought a thing from Urban Outfitters, and so I just come in and kind of. I remember there was one girl there. She was one of these girls who was like trying to look like Marilyn Monroe. She'd like draw the thing on and like all that shit, and like I just be walking around. All I really did when I worked there was I'd like readjust clothes because everyone would like throw clothes back, and you're supposed to like fold them and put them back nicely.
Okay.
And this woman would always come by. And like if my thing if it wasn't folded perfectly, there would be like a shirt out that someone had just thrown down because I didn't want it anymore, and I would fold it to the best of my ability, and I put it back where it's supposed to be, and then she would like with her hawk eyes, she'd run over, and if I didn't fold it perfectly, she'd like throw it back and be like, "You need to do it again." Yeah, it was really weird. So all these people were just like they thought they were really hip and cool and like elitist about fucking Urban Outfitters job. Yeah, but I think. But I was still young, and I was still at the point where I was like, I need to do well, and appreciate this, and so they kind of got to me. I like felt bad about it, but and then eventually, I put in my 2 weeks because I clearly like I wasn't making friends with anyone there, and it was just I felt this totally disconnected from everything that was going on there. But man, you just I don't know with work. I think we may have talked about this before. You're taught to go into a job, at least especially your first job, being super super grateful, like oh thank you so much, But you need to get rid of that. There needs to be a mutual respect. I think we've had this exact conversation before, but you need to get to the point where it's whatever they're giving to you, you give them back to them.
Definitely.
So,
And I think we get to a point too. At least the older I've gotten and the more I've worked, I'm like, oh, if someone gives me shit, like, I'm going to call them on it.
Yeah, good.
And I feel like when I was younger, especially like in my early 20s and stuff, you're just like, oh, I'm just grateful to be here,
Yeah, right.
And like you let people kind of push you around. And like now, the last time I had that incident with that fellow at work, I called him on him, like, hey man, like, you trying to say something? And it's good, and I think eventually it does, in most cases, create mutual respect, or at least he'll think twice before trying to do that to me again.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm going to call him on it, And I think that's super important. And update on that, we've actually been okay. I've seen him. I wouldn't say that we're good or buddy or anything, but I think there's enough of a mutual respect where we can go about our business, and it's not going to like ruin anything.
It's not going to be like Captain America: Civil War.
Not yet. But if he fucks up again, better watch out.
To bring out the shield.
I remember when I was younger, I worked at a record shop for a time, and you'd think that would be perfect for me with my musical knowledge and everything.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say all, but I would say like over 75% of people I worked with were like hipster douchebags.
Musicians are dicks, dude. Yeah. Most musicians are just like assholes.
But they were some people I worked with that were like just blatantly shitty, and it was really the first job where I had really experienced that. Where I was like, I think I was like 20 when I worked there. And it was like one of those where I remember there was one girl that was just constantly being a bitch to me. It was one of those where like anything you'd say, she would like respond to you as if you were saying something stupid.
Yeah, dude.
And I remember finally we were like behind the counter at the record shop, and I was like, I don't remember what we were doing. We were like restocking something or whatever. And she said something snippy, and I'm like, don't you have to go kill some puppies? And then she was like, what does that mean? It was like one of those where I was like, I started giving it back to her.
Good, yeah.
And it was like my first experience like doing that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Where I was like finally at a point where I'm like, oh, she's a bitch. I'm gonna like talk back to her.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye. And I guess that doesn't sound like much, but if you've never said that at work,
right? Yeah,
like it's a big step. Yeah, it's a big step. Yeah, because it sounds stupid. You're like, oh, that's nothing. But like when you're in a work environment,
yeah.
But I think it gets to a point where you stop worrying about being fired after a certain point.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I'm just gonna speak the way I want to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't mean I'm not saying like go and like cuss in front of customers and be crazy, but like if someone gives you shit, give them shit back.
Yeah. And it's weird. People who kind of like bully you like that will back off if you just give them a little bit of shit back. It's good. Yeah, my dad. I might have talked about this too. My dad always had a little little story about that. When he was growing up, it's not a big thing, but it makes the point very clearly. I think this was when he was in high school. There was always some guy who had like the locker next to him, and he didn't know the guy, but every time they happened to both be at the locker, this guy would like play punch my dad, like like they didn't know each other's names or anything.
Weird.
And my dad was just kind of thick or whatever. But one day he like slugged him back as hard as he could, and like the guy just like never did anything again.
That's
so
awesome.
It's like, it's like that's the kind of they're not expecting that, and it's almost like they're trying to get that out of you in a weird, sick way. You know?
And in some kind of way, even though you hate it, you kind of are glad that it happened.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of like, oh wow, I've
stood up for myself.
Stepped up.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's kind of good. It's like life trying to give you lessons.
Like trying to give you lemons.
Make lemonade.
And then you make lemonade.
Although I like limeade. Let's be real.
I like pink lemonade. Yeah.
So sometimes you just gotta punch someone and ask them if they gotta go kill puppies.
Yeah, both.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense, but it felt good. Yeah.
All right, so we have a lot on the email here. Would you like to select which ones seem most enticing?
Oh, let me read one. Let's see. Okay.
We got a copyright claim. We could read about that.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, one thing that happens when you guys make YouTube videos is if you have anything referencing anything, you're going to get a copyright claim.
Yeah.
You know who's a ninja who's really good at not getting copyright
Who's
claims?
that?
James on No Expectations Video Store.
Ooh.
He's really good, and I frankly don't know how he does it sometimes.
Wow.
But what happens though is on a lot of these, especially when I'm doing the movie reviews, the Unfazed Weekly Cinema, which you guys need to watch, you're getting like no views.
Please
guys.
watch it.
Watch
Please
the
go
Unfazed
Unfazed.
Weekly Cinema.
I watch those every morning when they come out. I just like put them on as I'm
Perfect.
doing whatever. They crack me
Yeah.
up. Ben's really funny on those. So
Thank
check
you,
them out,
thank you. But it's one of those that was a New Year's resolution that now I can't back out of because I'm too deep in it. Where I'm like, oh, I want to go to the theater.
That's good.
Once every week, and then I thought, well, I might as well document it.
Yeah.
So it's a fun little thing, but I would appreciate it if you guys would watch it on the channel.
You're doing the resolution the second month of the year. That's something to say, to be honest.
Exactly. I've been
peters out.
to the movies once or twice every single week.
That is good.
Yeah.
Going strong.
But anywho, so you get copyright flags.
Yeah.
It happens. It's a reality of YouTube.
It is.
The good thing is though, it just can't be monetized on those videos, which is fine. I mean, because they're getting such low views.
Right.
But I think in the future, it's something to watch out for. Definitely.
Yeah, it can hurt you later on.
But with movie stuff like that,
For now, it's almost like it's alleviating that we can get away with it. It's like it's not going to affect us.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's kind of like whatever. But there's other videos I'm more careful on, but with this, it's kind of like par for the course. You know?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's click this one. The first
Top
one.
one?
Yes. This is so misleading.
This is so
So basically, it says Universal Park remains a ghost town as crowds disappear. And basically, this whole fucking article is saying that Universal Studios Hollywood is like abandoned right now, and like nobody's there, and you can just breeze in and go on all the rides. I was there in October. It was so fucking crowded. It was a blast, but it was so fucking crowded.
This is a genius way to get people to go.
It is a genius way to get people to go. But, I mean, I know some people say, well, it was October, it's a busy time of year. Theme parks are busy all the time, okay?
Yeah.
But read some of the article. It's just funny how they make it sound like it's like this forgotten about ghost town.
I think this article was totally bought and paid for by Universal.
You think so? Did I fall for it?
Well, this website is called Inside the Magic. It is. It sounds like okay. So it says we at Inside the Magic are big Universal fans.
Okay.
From the amazing coasters and attractions to the shows, stunning New York architecture, Halloween Horror Nights fun, and more. Universal is a top pick for many theme park fans. Although we love Universal Orlando Resort, being able to experience Universal Hollywood is a totally different experience. I feel like, I mean, I don't know for sure, obviously, but I feel like maybe they're, it's not abandoned, but they're just getting lower than normal
and they're trying to
numbers, and they're like, now's the time to come, you know?
Yeah, makes sense. Makes
But,
sense. I think that's all theme parks. I heard especially the Florida ones in February. After that, it's like a clusterfuck through the summer.
Right.
But basically, it says...
and it's just like some pictures of like, ooh, there's only one person in the shot.
Yeah, they're making it look like there's like nobody there, and it's like everyone's forgotten about Universal. Dude, when we went there, it was so crowded. It was I had fun, but of course we did have the line hopper pass. I feel like if you're going to spend the money to go to a theme park, spend the extra to get the front of line pass because you're going to be able to see everything multiple times, or at least one time, and then your favorites a few times.
You can loop the Mummy 7 times in a row like Ben and I did.
Yeah.
It's great.
But it's so misleading saying like, oh, there's nobody there. Like,
look,
you're going to wait in line.
This article is just a glowing review of the theme park. First off, the theme park is a 2-story adventure that lies on a cliff. Not too many parks you can compare that to.
Yeah.
Although there are a lot of similar aspects between the American Universal parks in terms of attractions like Revenge of the Mummy, The Simpsons Land, and Transformers. There are a lot of differences. WaterWorld is a fantastic stunt show experience that has stood the test of time.
We saw WaterWorld, didn't we?
We did. Yeah, but this is just like telling you how great the fucking park is.
But I just love the pictures in here. There's like nobody walking around.
Right. But it's like, there was like a fairly tight shot of a trash can.
Yeah.
Like, there's no one congregating around the trash can. It's so dead,
I'm like, and also it looks like it's like probably right when it opened or right when it's closing.
And like, this is not the season for that.
No.
Who the fuck would be there right now anyway?
Yeah,
So,
my thing is, I'm sure it's still fairly busy.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure,
like, you're still gonna have to wait in line unless you get the front line pass. But
alright, inside the magic.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, it is.
What else we got here? You pick the next one.
This one just says Bender.
Yeah.
Oh, from Futurama?
Yeah, click it. I want you to read this one. And I think we've kind of talked about this one in the past a little bit, but I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Futurama's John DiMaggio on not returning as Bender for the revival. It's about self-respect. Actor John DiMaggio has spoken out about his decision not to reprise his signature voice role as the foul-mouthed robot Bender, and an assortment of other characters on the upcoming revival of cult animated series Futurama for Hulu.
I'm glad it's back.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm glad about King of the Hill.
Hell yeah.
That'll be good, yeah.
Huge fan.
Bender is part of my soul.
Bender.
Nothing about this is supposed to be disrespectful to the fans or my Futurama family. He wrote in a statement posted on Twitter Tuesday night and labeled update #BenderGate.
#BenderGate.
It's about, maybe he just wants to go out on a high note in terms of his voice acting. Yeah. I get that. He doesn't want to tarnish the thing. It's about self-respect and honesty, and honestly being tired of an industry that's become far too corporate and takes advantage of artists' time and talent. It's kind of interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. As Deadline reported last week, DiMaggio had received an offer in line with that for fellow leads Billy West, Fry, and Katie Seagal, Leela, who after a back and forth agreed to a deal while DiMaggio felt the proposal was not competitive based on the success and name recognition of the original series. He countered, after which the negotiations stalled and the revival was announced without him, with the Bender role being recast. That's a tough one. Yeah. Just to be clear, I don't think that only I deserve to be paid more. I think the entire cast does. Negotiations are a natural part of working in show business. Everyone has a different strategy and different boundaries. Their price. Some accept offers, some hold their ground. Okay, I respect them for it. Yeah,
definitely, yeah. And I think, like I said before, like with a lot of these animated movies, they're getting big people in. They're like Chris Pratt, Kevin Hart, The Rock, and it's like these big actors doing these voice acting roles, and it's putting a lot of these seasoned voice actors kind of out of work,
right?
Because they're like, oh, we want name recognition for a movie that's intended for five-year-olds. It's kind of weird, and I think a lot of those guys probably aren't getting paid as much as, let's say, Chris Pratt for the Lego Movie. Mm-hmm. John DiMaggio is probably getting lowballed, and he's like, dude, I've been doing this for like 40 years.
Yeah.
And I could definitely see how that would be frustrating for voice actors.
Yeah, and I think his defense of his choice not to come back sort of touched on our qualms with the corporatization of these older things, these older golden standard shows and movies that are being reprised and recreated, and I think his decision not to come back was kind of based on that. He was like, I don't like that all these corporations are coming along and baking on the nostalgia just for the sake of that. That's sort of, maybe I'm just projecting into his comment, but that's sort of
I think there's an element to that there, otherwise he wouldn't have commented on it.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, I respect his decision. It's going to be weird.
Yeah, but, and I'm always impressed with people who can, I mean, it's tough to say replaced, but they are going to recast that role, so someone's got to do a freaking spot-on Bender.
I remember when I was little, I was even annoyed when they recast fucking Arthur.
Yeah,
like I noticed
it. Noticed it,
I was like, wait a minute, there's like 5 Arthurs now.
These dumb kids won't notice,
Yeah, it's bizarre. And there was even in Recess, remember Recess? There were 2 voice actors for TJ.
Really?
And even I noticed that too.
TJ
it was really weird. Yeah.
Remember
he's like the main. Yeah, Arthur too. They're both the main characters.
I remember there was one podcast you came over and we did it at my place.
Yeah.
And we got like really drunk.
Yeah.
And we watched Recess for like 2 hours before the.
I'd love to do that again.
And then we played Uncharted, and
Yeah.
they were like, we should probably record the podcast.
That was great, man.
Yeah, we like ate a bunch of food and we got like hammered.
It was hilarious. Is that besides the getting hammered, that's exactly what we would do if we were like 10 and we had to sleep over.
Exactly.
Watch Recess. And
Except
play
it
games.
would be Capri Suns.
Right. Yeah.
And,
he was getting hammered on
pizza rolls. Yeah. Get a sugar rush.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah. It would be the exact same.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got. Okay, I want
to the next one.
to talk about this. This fake hustle macho bullshit is so overplayed and dumb. So I'm definitely guilty of following some of these on Instagram. They're like, motivational, inspiring, make yourself better, make your life better financially and all this.
Side Hustle Bible.
But I don't subscribe to that one. That one was just one I came across. But these ones sometimes I'll subscribe to now, ironically, because they're so fucking annoying and stupid. And it's become this like trendy thing to be like, I'm too cool to go out and have fun. I gotta work hard.
Oh, God.
It's like those type of guys where it's like, while you were busy going out to the clubs, I was busy making my millions. And I'm like, fuck off. Like,
I want to read the subject you wrote just because I love imagining you like type this.
Yeah.
This fake side hustle macho bullshit is so overplayed and dumb.
Yeah. So like, go through and literally go on Instagram or anything and type in like side hustle or like entrepreneur mindship. They've just literally ruined the name entrepreneur.
Yeah,
like, the word entrepreneurship, they've just like fucking destroyed. Yeah.
Do you want me to read his little entrepreneur quote here?
So first of all, these are just such bullshit lies at this point. Like they're so fucking stupid.
Is it kind of like the guy who was the famous like, I'm in my garage with my car and
those
the
type
books?
of guys.
Yeah, okay.
It's the ones who are like, I'm too good to go out and have fun. I'm gonna pretend like I'm hustling. Like,
I'm making money. Yeah.
I wake up at 6 a.m. and I grind.
Yeah.
But like my thing is, sure, there's people out there who really do that, and then there's people who want to give the illusion that they're doing that 24/7, and they're annoying as fuck.
Oh yeah.
So read this bullshit story or post. It just makes me laugh.
3 years ago, I failed an interview for a sales job. I followed up and asked them how much it cost them to get a sales call. They said it was $400. I told them I'd pay $400 for everyone. I didn't close. My first week, I made $12,000 in sales commissions. Never give up.
It's such a fucking lie. You're telling me this guy went in, he negotiated with this company, and then he didn't like fail with one call. He got them all right.
The real Matt Ryder made over 7 figures as a sales rep, then leveraged his sales skills to build blah blah blah.
Yeah. Now maybe there's a few exceptions to the rules out there. There's these Jordan Belfort type guys out there. 100%, those guys exist. But there's a lot of people who just try to preach this stuff, and they're just fucking fake.
Yeah. The other thing that's like, this seems obvious, but also dumb at the same point. But it's kind of sickening to me that the amount of money you can make is like reflects the importance of your place in the world and your character and your overall worth. Mm-hmm. Like, great, you have a lot of money. Like, are you happy? Are you fulfilled? Are you enjoying life?
Yeah.
Do you have a purpose? I mean, I'd rather make music and make videos and stuff and be like, struggling financially than like be hustling and working my ass off and have a lot of money but no time to do anything.
I want to make videos and have a good time, make great content, and then make a bunch of money off a monkey NFT.
Exactly. Yeah.
Monkey.
Go buy our unfazed NFT.
Yeah, that would be fun. But I just think it's so funny and so overplayed. You go through and it's always this like, I'm a pimp, I'm a badass. I got my 2022 Corvette.
Right, exactly.
It's always like, and it's like, relax, dude.
Yeah, what is the climax of all this money? It's always just my ride. Like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Go away. It's like there's nothing.
And my thing is there's a place for that. There's a place for success. There's a place for financial freedom.
Yeah.
There's a place for doing better. 100%.
Yeah.
But the people that make that like their whole vibe when you talk to them, and that's like all they talk about, and it's like this weird persona.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of bullshit acting going on.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think my frustration with this whole mindset is that I'm more concerned about what did you do to get this money than the money itself.
A hustle, dog.
Right. I mean, did you do something good for the world? Did you do something original? Did you do something beneficial? Like, what did you do? As long as you're doing something good, then cool, man. I don't care about the money just in and of itself. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, speaking of side hustles, time for some side hustle commercials. Enjoy.
Do you really think this is the right thing for us to be doing, Ivana?
What will people think?
Let them talk.
Donald.
Ivana. It's wrong, isn't it?
But it feels so right.
Then it's a deal?
Yes, we eat our pizza the wrong way.
Crust first.
Introducing stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut. With a ring of cheese baked into a totally new, thinner crust, you'll want to eat it the wrong way. Crust first.
May I have the last slice?
Actually, you're only entitled to half.
Large, just $9.99.
1, 2, 3.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up at Sam Goody. Over 10,000 gifts, under $15. Wrap it up. The latest music, from pop to jazz. Smash hit movies, from children's favorites to thrilling adventures. Or blank tape and more. Wrap up all your holiday shopping at Sam Goody. Goody. Got it. Wrap it up.
And welcome back from that brief intermission. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got some ideas for gifts. Good stuff. Anyway, we're back.
This is actually a nice practical one that I think we've all been there. U.S. approves new headlights that won't blind oncoming drivers. Yeah, that seems like a no-brainer that we should have figured out a long time ago.
Yeah.
Anyone who has ever been temporarily blinded by high-beam headlights from an oncoming car will be happy to hear this, as we all have, anyone who drives.
Yeah.
U.S. highway safety regulators are about to allow new high-tech headlights that can automatically tailor beams so they focus on dark areas of the road and don't create glare for oncoming drivers. That's awesome.
I feel like there's so many out there that aren't even necessarily people's brights, but they're just really super bright LED headlights.
Yeah.
And they're like obnoxious.
Yeah,
I'm like, shit.
for sure.
Yeah.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says it issued a final rule allowing what's called adaptive driving beam headlights on new vehicles. It will go into effect when published in the Federal Register in the next few days. And the headlights commonly used in Europe have LED lamps that can focus beams. Yeah, okay, cool. The final rule will improve safety for pedestrians. Yes. The only thing that I'm sad about reading this is that, like, think how long it's going to take for this to be normalized.
Yeah.
We'll be
also,
like 80 and we'll be like, finally, I can see.
Yeah. Yes.
Then
Oh,
you
you get your license revoked.
Yeah.
For hitting a curb and killing a hot dog vendor.
If only I had my LED beams.
Well, I mean, my thing is that's going to be on all new vehicles. Not everyone drives
Right.
a 2023.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why it's going to take
It's
so
going to be
long.
like Teslas, but then it's going to be like us out there, like, my 1999.
Exactly, yeah,
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, but that is, it's about time.
It's a step in the right direction, but hopefully our grandkids will enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like reading these subjects without knowing what it is. I figure if you're going to build a time machine, why not do this with some style?
So basically, this is the DeLorean is officially back, and it's electric.
Oh.
So hopping on the bandwagon of EV, electric vehicles, the DeLorean is coming back. I don't know if John DeLorean's even still alive, but DeLorean is coming back as a company.
Does it look good?
I haven't seen even a picture of it yet, to be honest. Gull-wing doors, they've still got.
It looks modernized.
It looks sleek. They're going for the Tesla look.
It's like it's a fucking teaser for a car.
Yeah.
You see like the outline of it.
I feel like right now it's DeLorean.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not DeLorean. Well, now DeLorean.
It's DeLorean.
Tesla, Rivian, and
Right.
what's that other one? There's the other one that has the Fashion Square store. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It has a name like Genesis. It
Yeah,
can never
right.
be two words. It always has to be like one thing.
Yeah.
Tesla, Rivian.
Yeah.
I do think Rivian is going to be huge, though.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think...
Elysian.
Yeah, Matt Damon.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad to see DeLorean's back, and I'm glad they're sticking with those gull-wing doors.
Yeah, that is cool.
That's sick.
cool.
I never saw that movie. I guess they made a movie about John DeLorean's life.
Really?
And,
Was that interesting?
It was supposed to be. I guess he got... Like, the company went under, and he went to jail, I think, for having a bunch of cocaine. And
Wow.
he lived in it. Pull up John DeLorean. Let's look up some stuff about John DeLorean facts.
You know, a car movie I really liked was Ford versus Ferrari.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Really good movie. And no CGI in that. All real car stunts.
It's awesome. Yeah.
So any crashes you see in that, they really
they
crashed
really
cars.
died,
Yeah, they killed like...
Christian Bale really died at the end.
Yeah, they killed like 300 extras. Yeah.
John DeLorean, wow, intense looking man.
Yeah, and I think, if I remember right, Jason Sudeikis was in the movie, and I love Jason
Oh,
Sudeikis.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, but he had quite the interesting life. Is he still around? No, he died in 2005.
He's been in feature films.
R.I.P. John DeLorean, man.
Yeah. Oh, Arrest and Trial, okay.
Let's check that out.
On October 19th, 1982, DeLorean was charged by the U.S. government with trafficking cocaine. following a videotaped sting operation in which he was recorded by undercover federal agents agreeing to bankroll a cocaine smuggling operation.
I always love thinking like, now, yeah, of course, everything's on camera.
Right.
1982 sting operation on camera?
That's badass.
That means there was some guy that was like with a giant trench coat and this huge like 30-pound camera. He's like, so tell us, John, what are you gonna do with the cocaine? What are you gonna do? I'm like, I don't know. Buy it, sell it.
Holy shit. That's a job. The FBI set him up with more than 59 pounds of cocaine. Holy shit.
Almost as heavy as the camera.
Yeah, really. In a hotel near LA, after arriving from New York, the FBI stated Delorean was a financer to help the financially declining company in a scheme to sell 220 pounds with an estimated value of $24 million.
They're always scheming.
The government was tipped off to Delorean by confidential informant James Timothy Hoffman, a former neighbor, who reported to his FBI superiors that Delorean had approached him to ask about setting up a cocaine deal. Just to his neighbor. Hello, neighbor. Jesus. All right, so that is very interesting.
That's
wow.
interesting, yeah. What a guy.
Damn. Delorean was married 4 times.
No, that's all.
Wow. Elizabeth Higgins, Kelly Harmon, Mark Harmon. Oh, no. Yeah, interesting guy, dude.
Yeah, he really yo-yoed around there.
Yeah, he really did.
But, you know what's amazing about that? I think that car would have been all but forgotten had it not been for Back to the Future.
That is
because all that shit went down in 1982. Back to the Future was 1985.
Yeah. Wow.
So I think that really revitalized interest in that vehicle.
That is interesting. I didn't think about it.
Because of what I've seen on a lot of those shows, like if you watch like I think the Patton Oswalt episode of Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, Jerry gets a DeLorean for Patton Oswalt.
Yeah.
Like, that thing broke down so fast in that episode. Like, they're supposed to be pieces of shit mechanically.
It's so funny.
But they're beautiful cars, and obviously the
right.
Back to the Future appeal is great, so that's why they're awesome. And
well, if they're coming back, hopefully they run better. Yeah,
I hope so too. But they look really cool, but I heard mechanically they weren't the best.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, which is great.
Cyber Party. Oh yeah, all the cyber attacks. Man, this is the new big thing. Everyone's just cyber attacks. It's like war games.
Like I said, give it a few years. Yeah, global thermonuclear war. I love war games. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. But I feel like this is the next big wave of terrorism.
I think so.
Yeah.
Some Ukrainian websites temporarily knocked offline by cyber attack. And there's like a picture of 2 Marines in a standoff. That's the cyber attack.
Makes no sense. Yeah.
It was not immediately clear who was behind the attacks, while tensions remain high with Russian troops amassed. Oh, that's the Russian troops amassed at the Ukraine
they're
border.
tying it in.
Okay, yeah. Several key Ukrainian websites, including those of 2 of the country's largest banks and its defense ministry, holy shit, was temporarily knocked offline by some nerd in Michigan or something. I was just doing it for fun.
This is how I get my jollies.
Let's start working.
Mom, give me my Captain Crunch.
It was not immediately clear who was behind the attacks. Ukraine's Center for Strategic Communications, a government-funded organization aimed at countering disinformation, said in a Facebook post that the websites of Private Bank and Oskad Bank were knocked offline due to a distributed denial of service attack.
Damn.
The Department of Defense attacks... Wait, the DDoS, I don't know what that is. Attacks flood websites with traffic in an effort to disrupt their operations or knock them offline. The public website for the armed forces of Ukraine was also not... This is getting serious, man.
That's
very serious. Yeah.
That's one of those where, like I said, worst case scenario, they're going to trick some other government into thinking that another one launched missiles or something, and they're going to respond to it, and it's all going to be fake. Yeah. Like, that's the scary
Those are some serious websites to knock offline. Goddamn.
And I hope that never happens.
That is crazy.
Yeah, some hardcore shit. Alright, so here's one.
It's the anniversary of Sandy Hook.
Yeah, so Sandy Hook.
Oh, this was interesting. I was actually listening to this on NPR.
Yeah, this is a bizarre one. So obviously, Sandy Hook tragedy implied, right? Horrible stuff. But the families of Sandy Hook victims reached a $73 million settlement with rifle maker Remington over the 2012 school massacre. This is where it gets fishy.
Yeah.
This is weird. Because obviously it's sad, it's tragic, you want those kids to come back and they can't, it's a shitty situation. But at the end of the day, is it really the fault of the gun manufacturer, or is it the fault of the crazy person who committed the crime?
Right.
It's the fault of the crazy person who committed the crime. That's like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I was listening. NPR was saying that Remington's advertisement campaign was targeting like kids, and they said it was like immoral demographics. That's what they said, and that was the basis for the.
What was it? A hunter with a sniper rifle propped outside of a kindergarten? What was the commercial?
Well, yeah, I don't know, but I know for the basis for the settlement was that apparently they were targeting people who shouldn't necessarily have, which is that's a sketchy thing anyway.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think they just want some sort of justice because they're never going to get their kids back, and it fucking sucks. But that's a weird one. It's almost like a car, being used by a crazy drunk driver to kill someone and then suing Toyota.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But I guess there is that element of like the advertising. I could see that potentially. I didn't know that part of it.
We're gonna cut to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Battery's dying.
I like the likes of you. I like the things you do. I mean, I like the likes of you.
Ben Stiller is Tom Cruise.
Mom, I peed through a tube.
Ben Stiller is Dylan McKay.
I've got a headache.
I'm scared.
Ben Stiller is a Hollywood agent.
Fat is funny. Let's face it, the diet is killing your careers.
Ben Stiller is the boss.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Ben Stiller is hilarious, says the LA Times.
All right.
The Ben Stiller Show premieres tonight at 7:30, 6:30 Central on Fox.
Hey, thanks for putting up with our battery dying. What do you do?
That's right. So I'm just going to finish off on this Sandy Hook thing here. President Joe Biden, who was vice president at the time, hailed the settlement. Okay. This is what Joe Biden said. While this settlement does not erase the pain of that tragic day, it does begin the necessary work of holding gun manufacturers accountable for manufacturing weapons of war and irresponsibility marketing these firearms. So it was all about the marketing. Together we can deliver a clear message to gun manufacturers and dealers. They must either change their business models to be part of the solution for the gun violence epidemic, or they will bear the financial cost of their complicity. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what the ads were that they were talking about, so I can't really talk about it.
Yeah. My thing is, it's like, I really don't know that much about it, but I just think it's wild that, literally it's, at the end of the day, the case is settled, and they're like, it's the gun manufacturer's fault.
Yeah.
Like, that's, and like I said, maybe I'm not educated enough on the whole case and the whole situation, but that's wild to me. Like,
and also, and also, I mean, realistically, how much are changing your advertisements going to do for deterring people?
Like, if someone's set on doing a massacre, I don't know if changing the ad to having more, hunters and elk is going to really change.
I will say this. I'm going to get shit for this, but this seems very congruent to me. Blaming it on the advertisements sounds exactly like the argument that, like, guns and video games and violent film is causing all these kids to shoot people, which I think everyone has agreed that's not the case.
Yeah.
No one these days says, like, oh yeah, I played GTA, so I kill people. Like, that's obviously a non sequitur.
Yeah.
But, the ads thing seems like a similar train of thought to me.
I think at the end of the day, it comes down to frustration from the people who lost their family.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then they want some sort of justice, so they need someone to blame.
Yeah.
And once the perpetrator is killed or taken into custody or whatever, they need someone to blame. They need some sort of justice because they can't get it. Yeah. And then usually with law, it comes down to money.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's wild shit, man. I mean,
it's a tough one. I need to know a little more about it, but that's,
Yeah, it's just a bummer it had to happen at all, This is stupid, like a game to them. I don't know what it is. Let's click it.
A priest changed one word. Thousands of baptisms he performed are declared invalid.
Yeah.
The Reverend Andre Arango has resigned to dedicate my energy and full-time ministry to help remedy this and heal those affected.
And this was a guy in Arizona.
A priest resigned this month after his, I don't know what that means. Diocese announced that thousands of baptisms he had performed were invalid because he had changed a single word. He said, "We baptize you" instead of "I baptize you." Okay. It is with sincere pastoral concern that I inform the faithful that baptisms performed by Reverend Andre Arango, a priest of the Diocese of Phoenix, are invalid. Bishop Thomas J. Olmsted of the Diocese of Phoenix said in a letter last month. This determination was made after careful study by diocesan officials and through consultation with the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith in Rome. That's a mouthful, he wrote. Arango said, "We baptize you in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit," instead of "I baptize you in the name of the..." Yeah, it's a little silly.
It's basically saying we or I, and the dude's like resigning.
The issue with using "we" is that it is not the community that baptizes the person. Rather, it is Christ and Him alone who presides at all the sacraments, and so it is Jesus Christ who baptizes. But so, if you say "I," then you're saying you're Jesus.
It's weird.
I don't get it.
It's weird.
It's really weird.
What I think about all this is it feels like a game to them. Like, it
Yeah.
seems like... It seems like basically you're like, oh, that doesn't count. So because one word is wrong,
I'm not really dead. I'm not really dead. Your gun wasn't loaded. Yeah.
You're going to hell.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
going to
That's
hell.
so dumb.
Yeah, what do they do? Do they call these people individually? Hey, man.
Yeah, your baptism wasn't real.
Oh, no.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, believe what you want to believe, but those kind of aspects of religion seem really dumb to me.
Oh, but it ends on a good note. This has not disqualified him from his vocation and ministry. He remains a priest in good standing. Okay. Happy ending after all.
Until you find out about all the kids that he touched.
Yeah, right, yeah, really. What a silly thing.
Yeah, man, it's a weird one. Like, Catholicism, there's
very weird.
There's a lot to unpack
Very
there.
weird.
You know, the churches are beautiful, the architecture, the history, there's a lot of interesting stuff there. And then it seems like there's also a lot of weirdness.
Yeah.
A lot of
yeah,
weirdness,
you're right.
you know.
Yeah, the little technical things like that are very odd to me.
Yeah, there's a lot with them where I'm like, it's a little odd.
Yeah. And then there's that whole issue of, because all of religion to me, especially Christianity, is so metaphorical, but then there are so many people who take it all so literally.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is the body of Christ. It's like, oh, okay, it represents the body of Christ. But like, no, this is literally the body of Christ. And then I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
But, so,
people get
it seems like
extreme.
that kind of thing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not really, like you said,
Exactly.
it doesn't count because it's like, okay, Jesus. Yeah.
It's like, literally.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's weird.
It's taking everything too literally. Sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think it's dumb.
Yeah.
You know, I think someone who is truly religious would be more open-minded and more thoughtful on things.
Yeah, that's the part of religion that's always been a turnoff to me. Is that kind of like technical? Ooh, what counts? It's like, no, that's my understanding of the importance of religion has nothing to do with that.
Exactly.
I think if it's within your heart and your soul, these little technical matters don't matter.
It's something you feel. It's being good to other people. It's
it's
being generous. It's being kind. It's not hurting other people. It's living your life to be Christ-like. You know.
Yeah. Right.
But I think they really twist it and fuck it up. You know.
Yeah, that's super silly. Man.
Yeah, they make things weird.
Yeah, and like like at the end of the day, if that little, like you said, if that little technical thing, him saying "we" instead of "I," determined whether or not you went to heaven or hell, then was any of this fucking worth it anyway?
Exactly.
Did anything really matter if that little thing?
Yeah, they turn it into a weird game.
What the hell? It's stupid.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like,
There's a guy I want to have on the
So
podcast. He's a guy I work with. He's a real cool dude, and he has a YouTube channel. And I don't actually know the name of it, otherwise I'd shout it out. But I told him I'd like to have him on the podcast because he is planning on moving to Africa to be a missionary.
Oh shit!
And he's actually spent some time there before as a missionary. He spent like 2 years there and came back. He's going back, and he and his wife are planning to stay there. He said at least 10 years.
Jesus.
And I'm like, hey man, before you leave to Africa, I really want you on my podcast because I might not see you ever again.
Yeah.
And also just it would be interesting to talk to someone like that who's so biblically devout.
Yeah.
Because I'm not. It's like I'm open to all that kind of stuff, but I'm not like this avid religious churchgoer, studying all this stuff. So it's like it's so foreign to me in a lot of ways. I'd love to just pick his brain and talk to him and see like what's going on. It'd be super interesting. I think
that would be really interesting. Yeah.
So I asked him if he'd want to be on. He's like, absolutely. Yeah. I was like,
cool. And even after all this shit, I just talked about religion. That's like a lot of anyone I know in my personal life who is religious, they're like a really good person.
Yeah.
So there is something to it. But I just don't fully agree with all the little rules and stuff. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I've never been like... I've always had a bit of an aversion to like church and religion. There's something that feels a little phony about a lot of it to me. Not to shit on any of your guys' religions, but just in my own experience, there's been just something about it where it makes me a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But as far as God and spirituality and everything like that, like I'm good with it. I'm open to it and everything. But when religion becomes like this weird, like I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Sometimes they feel a little culty. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I've been in a lot of. I had a friend who was in high school who his parents were so deep, like culty into it that he wasn't allowed to like watch Harry Potter and anything with magic. And then I went to his church once.
That's stupid.
Yeah, I went to his church once, and it was one of the ones where they all stood up and like closed their eyes and did this shit. And I was like, I was a little scared. I was like, guys, let's relax.
Yeah, I think when you get to a point where you're not allowing your kid to watch Harry Potter because you're afraid the devil's going to corrupt them, you might want to take a few steps back. And maybe ease off the Kool-Aid a little bit.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Ease off the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I think when it gets to the point where it's like all ruled by fear, then I'm turned off to it.
Exactly.
That's what a lot of it is for a lot of people.
I don't like the fear mongering.
Yeah,
I don't like that. And that's that's actually been a huge part of religion since the beginning of religion.
Yeah, exactly.
Is kind of keeping people under the power of who's in control of that religion because they control them with fear.
Yeah. And I think that everyone's, at least the smarter people are aware of this.
Yeah.
But it's important to reiterate, since we're on it, that if the whole reason you're being a good person is because you're afraid of, getting sent to hell at the end of your life, then you're not a good person. So just do shit because it's the right thing to do, not because you're afraid of,
condemnation.
Yeah, obviously.
Work on being a better person in your own way.
Yeah.
But I do think spirituality is important. I think finding your version of, living the good life and your version of God and everything is great. What you truly believe in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But subscribing to someone else's ideology and everything it can be dangerous.
However, you should subscribe to Unfazed Review if you haven't done already.
And I think you should drop us a message in the prayer box. And you can also give us communion on the Patreon.
That's right.
Yeah, which is great. Which is great. So God bless Unfazed and God bless the Unfazed crew.
And we'll see you next week.
Good time. Is that the end of the pod?
I think so.
Oh, shit.
That's all the emails and those. All
right. Well, I feel like I should throw in some closing thoughts. Watch some more Seinfeld? No, I guess that's it. I guess that's it for the week. But thank you guys. As always, like, subscribe, and most importantly, remain unfazed. And stay hydrated. See ya.